it's Adam from LUCIDPIXUL, and welcome back. Now today I want to talk about probably one of the most popular topics among artists. And it's not popular because it's something that we all love and we all share an affinity for. No, it's because it's something that kind of plagues every single one of us. And it's not the first time I've tapped on this topic in the past. I've approached it from different angles and different perspectives and things like that, but it just keeps coming up time and time again in my life and in the lives of my students, my friends, and all of you guys as well. This is something that we can all agree on, and that is staying productive, right? And the thing is, productivity in general is something that can either be very easy, you can come to us very easily, or to others, depending on where you are in your life, what you're going through, can be the bane of your existence. It can be the curse, the dark cloud sitting over your head. And one of the first things I want to say right off the bat is understand that the world is designed to distract you, particularly today. If you go back 50 years, 100 years, back when I was a kid, you didn't have social media, you didn't have TVs with 600 different channels. No, you had your Saturday morning cartoons, and the rest of the time, you figured out what you were going to do on your own. And usually, it was a lot easier to concentrate and focus and develop your skills because drawing and painting, as it was for me, was something to help to cure boredom, right? I had nothing else to do. I was bored out of my skull. In fact, this is probably one of the reasons why the pandemic has helped a lot of artists and their productivity, because a lot of you are stuck at home. You can't go anywhere. I know in Montreal we've had a curfew. So you're stuck at home, you're bored. So take that into account first. If you do find yourself being pulled away from producing art, from training, from doing those types of things because maybe video games are pulling you away or social media is pulling you away, which is stronger now than ever because of the pandemic, have some compassion for yourself. Be kind to yourself. Don't call yourself a loser. Don't think that you lack the motivation. Your DNA is weak. You come from a weak breed. A weak mental breed of humans. No, you're just human and you are reacting in a very normal human way to a system designed to greatly appeal to and stimulate humans. And because your boredom is so easily cured with YouTube, with social media in general, with Instagram, with Pinterest, with whatever thing you're into, whatever distraction you're into, or video games, you don't have as much of an incentive to cure that boredom with drawing. So I want to just get that out of the way. That's not the point of today's talk, but it's definitely something to take into consideration. So the first main tip is schedule yourself. And by scheduling, I mean find a way to do things consistently. Now, that's not to be confused with doing things as often as you can, doing stuff every week. That's not precise enough. If you just say, I'm going to do it every week, then maybe it's once, maybe it's twice, maybe it's 19 times one week and then once the next. There's no regular, predictable practice and growth and development when you do things like that. Instead, be incredibly specific about when and where you do things. I'll give you an example. One of the things that helps me out with my schedule is the fact that I teach. So I have my morning class and my afternoon class. And I know to produce this video, to record these talks for you, to produce artwork for my art talks every single week, I have a limited amount of time to do what I've got to do, to record, to edit, to film things, to set up my lighting, to painting, screen record, all that kind of stuff. And I know that I only have technically between, let's say, 11:30 a.m. and 1:30 p.m. So if you think about it, that's only 2 hours. 2 realistic hours. And why only 2? Because I also have to eat. And I generally fast, so I don't usually have breakfast. So sometimes I get a little bit of extra work done in the morning if I don't exercise. And I take that 2 hours and I make the best of those 2 hours. And I've got 5 days a week that I can record videos and that I can record audio. I can do some stuff after hours sometimes, but I don't like to do that all the time. Maybe once in a while, if I have a little bit of editing, nothing that requires me to have a quiet house, then I might do that in the evening. But then there's dinner, there's family, and there's Minecraft. There's Cyberpunk. And that's my time for that. Okay, that's late in the evening after I've done my day of work. That's when my time to sit back and relax and guilt-free. But during that 2 hours between each class is my time to get the real work done. And I very religiously hold on to and really take advantage of that time. And it's only 2 hours a day, max. Okay? But because it's consistent every single day, at least 3 to 4 days out of a week between that time period, I'm hard at work. I'm recording videos, I'm setting up cameras, I'm editing, I'm doing audio editing, I'm painting, recording these art talks. I'm constantly busy with stuff. And in that time frame, I'm very, very productive. And because it's every day at the same time, I know when to expect it. I know what I'm going to be producing. I've got myself planned out for those 2 hours a day. Even though I'm not working for 9 hours, I'm still getting a lot done. Okay? And I'm still seeing, I'm seeing very regular growth, I'm very pleased with the growth that I see in my work, and I'm very pleased with what I produce, whether it be not only painting, but with film production as well, with video production. I'm happy with that kind of growth. I don't need more than that. Now, in your particular case, you might not have that obligation. Your mornings and afternoons might not be occupied teaching students. So therein lies an extra little bit of time for you. Now, do I think that you should fill it with painting? Do I think that you should be filling it with sitting down and drawing? Should you since you have the extra 4 hours a day, should you be working 6 to 8 hours a day instead of only 2 a day? Like at least in terms of painting and drawing? No, I don't think you should. And the reason being is, remember that consistency is key. And one of the important facets of consistency is the fact that you're doing so within healthy boundaries. You're not trying to burn yourself out. One of the quotes that I love that I've mentioned in the past from Jeff Cavalier from Athlete X is, are you doing what you can or are you doing what you should? And to me, it's as important for me to eat healthy. It's very important for me to take a break. It's very important for me to exercise. It's very important for me to take my eyes off of my screen. It's very important for me to socialize a little bit. It's not just all about painting 24 hours a day. So no, I don't think you should be doing it for 6 to 8 hours a day. I don't think that's sustainable. You're going to burn out your muscles. You're going to burn out your back, your neck, your wrist. And once you injure yourself, it's game over, at least for an extended period of time. I mentioned in my last week's art talk about Loish, how she pushed herself too hard and she started getting wrist issues and stuff like that and was forced to take a break. That's what happens when you think that quantity is going to result in better results. I used to think that. I used to draw ceaselessly. Now I don't draw endlessly. Instead, I focus on the quality of the time that I spend. I slow myself down. I think, I plan, I produce, I execute things with precision today. I don't just draw my ass off and hope that something comes out of it. There's an expression in photography that's very similar to that. Although it's not necessarily a bad thing in photography, it's spray and pray, which is an expression that basically means you put your high-speed shutter on and you just go, and you take these high-speed shots, and then you go through the 700 shots and you look for the one that's good, right? Which technically, when you're doing things like sport photography or wildlife photography, it's kind of necessary. It's not like a sniper. You have to kind of take 200 shots and pick the best one. But it's kind of that same philosophy. When you're drawing, you're not trying to capture a moving object. like you would being an athlete or a bird. No, you're capturing a still moment, a moment that you can control, you can freeze frame. So there's no reason for you to rush through that process. You can plan it and execute it with a lot of precision. And it's that thoughtfulness that expands the mind, that develops you creatively and intellectually, that allows you to connect your emotional self to your artwork. And that's where you're going to see a lot of growth. Yes, of course, repetition and practice does absolutely matter as well, but not when it's at the expense of your health, not when you're doing so much that the quality, the value of the process is lost. I'm going to add one more ingredient to this, and that is you need to be very faithful and very protective of this productive time. And by that I mean it's your time to be productive. It's your time to work. Again, all stuff I've mentioned in the past. When you respect your schedule and when you plan for something and you say between 11:30 and 1:30 p.m., I'm busy, I'm working, it's my me time, then you start to become very protective of this time. So if people start to spam you with messages, text you, if Instagram keeps popping up on your wrist, you end up ripping your watch off and throwing it off on the side because you just keep getting pinged every 2 seconds. Or if emails keep popping up, or if your friend keeps texting you and saying, why aren't you returning my phone calls? Politely, but firmly say, I'm sorry, I'm busy now. And if they keep texting you, then you turn your phone off. And if they ring your doorbell, you lock your front door because this is my freaking time. Unless there's an emergency, of course, duh. Once you get very protective, once you become very scheduled and very regimented in the way that you work and when you work, because it's a small allotted piece of time, when that time is tampered with for unnecessary purposes, it will piss you off. You will get irritated by that because I don't ask for a lot, but this is my time. So you better respect my time. And if you're dealing with somebody, if you're dealing in a relationship or a parent or somebody in your life or a friend who's constantly pinging you every 2 seconds, trying to get your attention, you need to make it very firm that between this time, there's no texts unless it's an emergency, period. So you become very protective of that time. It's a small amount of time, but it's your time. And as such, because you've invested so much of your energy and because you've been because you're so regimented about the time that you have, you make the best of it. Now, I saved the best for last because there's one more facet of consistency, of scheduling yourself that people don't talk about, but it's probably the most important. And it can be illustrated very, very effectively in this question. Do you ever find that you wake up 5 minutes before your alarm goes off? Do you find that you always wake up 5 minutes before your alarm goes off? Like you wake up, you look at the clock, it's 6:55 and you hit the off button because your alarm doesn't even get a chance to go off. Do you do that every day? And that, of course, that's a question I would ask of people who go to bed and wake up at the same time every day. I usually go to bed around 10:30. I wake up around 6. I always wake up before the alarm goes off, religiously, because my body has gotten to a schedule. Now, why is that? Why do I wake up at 6:55? Because your hormones are very, very precise. And when it comes to your circadian rhythm, when your body produces cortisol, when your body produces melatonin, when your sleepy hormone kicks in, and when your wake up hormone kicks in, if you do it regularly enough, you start to alter your circadian rhythm. And that can happen very quickly. I remember there was a studio somewhere in Northeast Montreal where they would do these split shifts, which is the worst type of job you can do, where basically it was 2 weeks you work during the day and 2 weeks you do the night shift, and 2 weeks you work during the day and 2 weeks you work night shift. That'll destroy you. That'll destroy your health. Of course, I didn't take the job because I thought that was inhumane to do something like that. But it wasn't inhumane because they made people work the night shift. It was inhumane because they made people change every 2 weeks, which is about the amount of time it takes for your circadian rhythm to adapt. So your body adapts to a night schedule, and then you have to flip it around and switch it to a day schedule. This messes up your hormones. Your hormones basically control your lifestyle. Okay? So when it comes to a consistent schedule, you're not only training your mind, you're training your hormones. So every single day, I'll give you a very good example. Even if I didn't sleep that night, guaranteed, even if I'm tired in the morning, I will be wide awake, alert, and ready to go at 9 o'clock in the morning. And then when I'm finished that, as soon as my class starts to finish, around, let's say, 10:45, leading into around 11:15, all of a sudden, I'm hungry because I have my first meal of the day at usually around 11:15, 11:30. And I'm hungry and immediately go upstairs and I have to have something to eat. And I eat a very consistent, very healthy meal. And I take my vitamins and I do all that kind of stuff. And I'm while I'm eating, my brain is all of a sudden starts to brainstorm what I'm going to be painting. I start thinking about art. I start thinking about my videos and my production because my hormones have gotten into the routine of as soon as Adam eats, he knows that about 15 minutes after that, he's going to start to work. So my hormones have gotten into this very, very strict schedule of being ready at this time every single day. So your body starts to help you. Your body and your hormones start to become your partner in your work. You're not fighting your hormones. You're not fighting your exhaustion. You're not fighting your pain. All of a sudden, your body and brain wakes up and gets ready for the task because you do it every single day at the same time. The body loves schedules, not only physically, not only socially, not only professionally, but hormonally. Whatever you do, realize that you're not just, quote, training yourself to do it. You're also programming your body. You're programming your hormones to behave the way you want them to behave. You're chemically programming your body. This is true to life, okay? We do things on a very strict rhythm because we train our bodies to do it. And that's why very often when you have very inconsistent sleep schedules, when you have inconsistent work schedules, when you have inconsistent productivity schedules or exercising schedules, that's when you end up giving up and failing because sometimes you caught the hormonal wave and you're kind of feeling invigorated and you go to the gym and you have a great workout. And other times you drive to the gym completely burnt out and then you park your car in the parking lot or you get off the bus and you sit there and you look at the gym and you go, I can't do it. And you turn the car back on and you drive back home because your hormones were just saying, screw you, buddy. You should have done it 15 minutes ago. I know, for instance, a good example is that when I go to sleep, if I go to bed at 10:30, at 10:45, I'm out. I'm out like a light. But if I keep myself up till midnight, I've missed the wave and I probably won't fall asleep till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Guaranteed. My body gets ready to fall asleep and all of a sudden I get drowsy. If I do something to wake myself back up again, I won't fall back asleep for another 2-3 hours. Like clockwork, always happens. So I know, ride the wave when it arrives. Jump on your surfboard and get ready for it. And the same thing applies to your career. Same thing applies to your schedule. Program your body. Program your hormones. And everything else that I've mentioned today will start to take care of themselves for you. All right. So with that said, I love you all with all my heart and happy painting. Take care. you.